In the past 4 videos, we implemented a reactive form with a single input text element. This was implemented using FormGroup and FormControl in the component class. In the HTML template, we used FormGroup directive and FormControl name directive. The next step is to start implementing validations on the input text element. We have already learned to implement validation of template-driven form in a series of videos. We are going to use certain features of template-driven form to implement validation in reactive form. What we are going to reuse is what will be discussed in this video. Let me show parts of code snippets from the template-driven form implementation. This is the form tag. This is the implementation of email field with validation. This is the tag that we included to display data entered in the form. In the component class, I have included the submit function. In the HTML template, this is where the NgForm object is included in the form tag. This is where the NgModel object is included in the email input text element. Now we will walk through the properties of NgForm which we have used in these code snippets. Submitted property tracks the form submission status. Valid property tracks the validity of all form fields. Value property contains the form data entered by the user. Now that we have gone through the properties of NgForm, we will look into NgModel. Touched property tracks if the field is accessed, its opposite property is untouched. Dirty property tracks if a field is modified, its opposite property is pristine. Invalid property tracks if a field is valid or not, its opposite property is valid. Errors property contains validation error data. In summary, these are the properties from NgForm used to implement validation at form level. These are the properties from NgModel used to implement validation at form field level. Let us focus on all these properties. From the Angular documentation, we already know that NgForm object contains an object of FormGroup class. I am including the FormGroup class as part of the diagram adjacent to NgForm. Now we will explore the properties available in the FormGroup class. We can see that it contains valid and value, hence I am including those properties under FormGroup class. The NgModel object contains an object of FormControl class which I am including adjacent to it. Now we will explore the properties available in the FormControl class. We can see properties touched, dirty, valid, errors, untouched, pristine and invalid, hence including all these properties under FormControl. For most of the properties, we can see a mapping field available in the other class except submitted property. With this context in mind, we will now understand how these properties work when used in the HTML template or component class. In the component class, when valid property of NgForm object is accessed, the NgForm internally goes to FormGroup object to get valid property from it and return it to the component class code. Let us look into another example. In the HTML template, when touched property of NgModel object is accessed, the NgModel internally goes to FormControl object to get touched property value from it and return it back to the HTML template code. From this explanation, it is clear that properties of FormGroup and FormControl contains the source of truth for the status data of form and form element, whereas NgForm and NgModel properties only propagates those values. In the reactive form implementation done so far, we have FormGroup and FormControl objects in the component class. From the explanation provided so far, it is clear that these classes contain necessary properties to implement validation. Using the same approach used in HTML template of template-driven form, we can implement validation in the reactive form example. In the place of NgForm object, we will use FormGroup, and in the place of NgModel object, we will use FormControl. If you are not familiar with validation implementation using template-driven form, it is highly recommended to go through the videos in the template-driven form section before starting the next video. In this course series, under template-driven form section, look out for the video containing touched property in the title. Starting from this video, go through the 17 videos which will cover all the topics on how validations and validation related styling is implemented, which is what we will be applying in reactive form without detailed explanation. Hope this sets the context on how we are going to handle validation in reactive form. From the next video onwards, we will continue implementing the reactive form based on the context set in this video.